So the Black Girl Gamer situation has escalated. I did not get to report on it yesterday, but today I'm going to do that. Looks like Black Girl Gamers decided to send out a cease and desist letter to that park place. It says right here from WDW Pro, as our attorney Ron Coleman stated yesterday, John Trent received a cease and desist letter from Black Girl Gamers. That cease and desist goes farther than anything that I have personally ever seen in chilling freedom of the press. The response starts Sunday night with Valiant Renegade. So we're going to be able to see exactly what that cease and desist letter says on Sunday. I actually reached out to Ron Coleman for any kind of quote whatsoever. He said he'd think about it, but I don't know if we're going to be able to hear anything until tomorrow, but I will be reporting on that, no problem. But what I want to do is point out some of the hypocrisy surrounding the defense for Black Girl Gamers and Sweet Baby Inc. I realize that some of these people that are coming out in defense of these companies, they all seem to have connections to some of these other establishments that have also come out in defense of Sweet Baby Inc. And there are several examples that I intend on providing you. But first I want to read this post from Grums. Right now, Black Girl Gamers, the SBI-style game and movie consulting group, has issued new legal threats, including a cease and desist. Meanwhile, they have mobilized their 10,000 plus members to harass and call critics racists in an attempt to deflect from the allegations of their discriminatory hiring practices, including one of their own ex-members, Gothics TV. This is again an attempt at reframing the issue while burying the fact that they started all this by threatening to sue everyone and Streisanding their alleged hiring policies. And by the way, the only reason that people found out about Black Girl Gamers in the first place is because Cabrutus Rambo was harassed by a Sweet Baby Inc. employee who conducted a harassment campaign and cancel campaign against that person. And in reference to Gothics TV, they were all talking about this on a stream with Side Scrollers. I actually watched a little bit of that stream just to see what she had to say about it. And Gothics TV provided several examples of people who went on podcasts to talk about her, people who talked about her in threads and negative ways after she had already left Black Girl Gamers. I guess she was involved with them back when they were still a community and not so much an organization that works on games like Forspoken. And we all know what happened to the game Forspoken. I'm seeing some interesting information from Packer Girl. Give her a follow. She does really great reporting. People are like, well, I don't want to follow her because of the anime. But dude, when she talks about anything Sweet Baby Inc. or Black Girl Gamer related, she is on point. I mean, she's finding people that you just wouldn't be able to find unless you're the type of person who digs into this stuff. And she says, keep in mind, a cease and desist letter is not legally binding. The letter's recipient has 10 to 15 days to cease and desist. So it says a cease and desist letter is not legally binding and reflects the opinion of an individual, typically an attorney. A cease and desist letter may serve to warn an offender that legal action may take place if they don't stop the activity, and they usually have a set time frame, 10 to 15 days to cease, but the letter must comply with the laws and jurisdiction in which it is sent. In addition, the American Bar Association model rules of professional conduct dictate that a lawyer shall not present, participate in presenting, or threaten to present a criminal charge solely to obtain an advantage in a civil matter. Such a threat has no legal significance other than being a negotiation tactic. A lot of people think that this is an intimidation tactic, but she says more about this character defamation and libel. She says more than likely Black Girl Gamers filed the letter under character defamation and libel. It is illegal to make untruthful comments about another person that could be harmful to their reputation in business, whether in print or verbally. So perhaps this is the avenue that they went, and of course we're going to find out tomorrow, but this provides a little bit of speculative power to people who were wondering what this cease and desist letter could contain. It seems that regardless of what is in it, Valiant Renegade, WDW Pro, That Park Place, Ron Coleman, they all seem to be very confident in the results of this situation, which is probably why they're saving the information until tomorrow. This part's actually quite fascinating. It says you don't need a lawyer to prepare a cease and desist letter, although a lawyer will know how to write a letter that properly scares the recipient without going over an ethical line. But what happens if a cease and desist letter is ignored? By definition, a cease and desist order alleges that illegal activity is taking place and asks the recipient to stop it immediately. If a cease and desist letter is ignored, its sender's recourse is to file a lawsuit against the offender, and if it gets to court, the cease and desist letter will serve as evidence that the offender had been warned about the violation and it ignored the warning. But the guys who received it, they've made it clear that they're not ignoring ignoring it. In fact, they've doubled down and are talking way more about this situation now. Packer Girl reminds everybody that she's not a licensed attorney, but when you start seeing the defense that these people are giving Black Girl Gamers, it is just insane. Check this out. Pen to Pixel's lead writer, Janet Garcia, had a message for Black Girl Gamer critics. She said, just want to send some love to Black Girl Gamers. Carving out space is important. Folks saying they're racist for existing or actively choosing to misunderstand what racism is because they're mad you exist. They don't want you to have the space you're taking up. F them. Wonder who they're talking about. She's not talking about white male gamers, is she? That's actually something that I am. I'm a white male gamer. I identify as one now. There is no point in me telling trolls what racism is because these people only know how to Google and screenshot define racism. And she says, which by the way, even with that basic definition, it doesn't line up. And that doesn't make any sense because if you Google the definition of racism, it just says being prejudiced against another race. But in her argument, she lies about this. She says the argument of if we had a white gamers club, that would be racist, but this isn't. But if this was different, you would feel differently. Like, yes, differences make a difference. What are you on about? In case anyone who doesn't post the same 8 jokes under people's tweets needs it though, racism is prejudice plus power. Oh, is it now? This is why, quote unquote, you can't be racist against white people. So this is obviously in defense of Alyssa Mercanti and anybody else who comes out and says that you can't be racist against white people. There's a lot of that lately because they're the racial group with historical and continued institutional power. I find that to be absolutely insane. So that's like saying that because the majority of the country is white, they are not allowed to claim victimization in racist attacks. Okay, so if I go to South Korea and everyone in South Korea is racist to me, that's fine. And I can claim to be a victim because of the fact that I'm ratioed 1,000,000 to 1. But then as soon as I step stateside, that no longer applies to me and I can no longer claim racism against myself because the majority of the people in my country are white. How does that make any sense to you? So because the white people have the power, that means that anybody who isn't white can make as many racist remarks as they want, and there's nothing that we can do about it. We have to just stand there and take it because that makes complete and total sense, and that is a moral foundation we all want to follow, right? She says, P.S. Clubs, groups, and organizations designed for specific groups of people exist everywhere. Black Girl Gamers isn't some anomaly. There are girl coding camps. There are heritage clubs at school. There's nothing new or wrong here, so y'all just hate black women and are gamers. So yes, Janet Garcia, the host and video game consultant, head of Pen to Pixels, Min-Max Show cohort, Indie Council co-host. Okay, I'm not going to say her email, but I did go on to Pen to Pixels because I was curious about what kind of things that she does when she's not defending people like Sweet Baby Inc. and Black Girl Gamers. I went to pentopixels.com and all it is just a big page of her doing reviews for games that are rather obscure in the industry, which is a good thing. However, her rhetoric suggests that she has a bias that needs to be corrected. It says, I have dreams of building spaces on the internet based on this attitude, pillars of content on this philosophy. I have dreams of working with a diverse group that I pay well to make whatever the heck they want. But today, it's just me writing previews, reviews, lists, features, and more. But if you guys know me, then you know that I couldn't help but dig just a little bit more. And I checked out her Gamanisis website, or at least her page, specifically on her background info, and it says, I hold a bachelor's in English literature with honors in creative writing and certification in secondary education. Previously an associate guides editor at IGN. So she used to work for IGN. She used to be a guides editor. Other bylines can be found at NerdMuch, BitCultures. Here's a special one, Kotaku, Hard Drive, and more. So things are starting to connect a little bit better. Things are starting to make a little bit more sense. She produced over 80 podcasts and videos for Bit by Bit, a project that ran for a year and a half with Jess Reed. And yeah, that's one of the people that came out in defense of it. But what about this person? Twitch ambassador Jambo claims the harassment towards Black Girl Gamers is, quote, harassment being directed towards Black women, femmes over this is exactly why they've created their own space that you are not welcome in. She says, white men have always had a seat in gaming. The harassment being directed towards Black women and you know, whatever, Black Girl Gamers is exactly why they created their own space. Some of y'all make the gaming space unsafe for anyone who doesn't look like you. How is it that they don't make people feel safe? That's what I'm wondering. And I went on to this person's Twitter too. Jambo, Twitch ambassador, made my mom's 30 under 30 list. She, her, and she has a YouTube channel and a Twitch channel. She went protected. Big surprise there. I actually went onto her YouTube channel just to see what kind of stuff that she pushes out. I saw her 12-hour live stream, which I thought was hilarious, because if you look at the tags, she was playing Stardew Valley at the time that I was checking out her page. Right there above my head, you can see behind my avatar's head, LGBTQIA+. These are tags, okay? Woman, neurodivergent, LGBTQIA, English, bisexual, pee-pee poo-poo, and free Palestine. A Twitch stream for Stardew Valley. These are the people that are defending Black Girl Gamers. And there's even more. Samurai Slaughterhouse voice actor Allison Terjancic says Black Girl Gamer male critics has her seethingly enraged. And I'm not just pointing out random people. These are people in the industry in some way or another. She says, seeing how men are reacting about Black Girl Gamers has me seethingly enraged. Black women deserve a space for themselves to express themselves, to connect with other Black girl gamers without some pathetic little boy crying because he's excluded. F off and leave the ladies be. I don't think that boys are upset that they can't join the community or that they can't be a part of it or that they're excluded. No, I think that it's the exclusionary process that Black girl gamers is alleged to be pushing that people are not okay with. But that's okay. Let's just ignore the facts. Let's look at Allison's page, artist, writer, actress. So she's a voice actor for characters, and she's like, screw you guys, screw you gamers, I'm on Black Girl Gamers' side. But then it gets even worse, because now you have a lead developer for Peer-to-Peer Live. Lucia Everblack claims the video game industry has a serious racism and white supremacy problem. She says it's been used as a recruiting tool for the alt-right and has only become worse over the years. We, in parentheses it says white people, have an obligation to stand up against it and push it back whenever we see it. Well, we're pushing back against racism and supremacy. It doesn't happen to be on the white side right now. It's not just the active direct racism, though, that affects this space. It is also the more subtle forms of it that contribute to the issue. Groups and orgs still skew towards a white demographic. Creators primarily network with other white people and give them opportunities. Whether you are just a gamer, a game dev, someone that runs an org or a team, it isn't enough to be an ally or simply denounce racism. You have to be intentionally anti-racist, which means putting in the work every day to make the space safer and equitable. And I don't think that anti-racist is the right word to use, since anti-racism is just like another form of racism. It's anti-racism is just going about racism a different way than is usually prescribed. But most of us don't really have an idea of just how bad it is, and that's because we aren't platforming and listening to the people that we should have been listening to all along. Now's the time to make up for that and actually do something about it. What are you guys going to do about it? What exactly is there to do when the only thing that people are upset about is having nonsense pushed into their video games, have entire studios shut down because of woke injection into the writing and into the characterization? Also hilarious that she says racism towards white people doesn't exist, but nice try. Gee, where have we heard that one before? But do you honestly find it surprising that this kind of person would come out in defense of Black girl gamers and then go protected when they get way too much backlash? They said that this person was the head of Peer-to-Peer Live, which I went onto that website and it seems to be very trans heavy. I'm not even sure. I've never even been to this website, but it's by Trans Lifeline. So she's the lead dev. And I actually went to Trans Lifeline, and it's apparently a helpline for trans people that are unsafe. So it says Trans Lifeline provides trans peer support for our community that's been divested from police since day one. We're run by and for trans people. We envision a world where trans people have the connection, economic security, and care everyone needs and deserves, free of prisons and police. Wow, this is getting crazy. Okay, and then there's even more. So G2 Sports Communications Becca Henry claims the Black Girl Gamers discourse serves to highlight why these groups that provide safe spaces are needed. I'm seeing a lot of the same rhetoric. You guys are probably noticing this too, but I'm showing you all of these posts because these are all coming out around the same time. I find that to be very interesting, but it says all this toxic discourse around Black Girl Gamers right now only serves to highlight why it's needed. Same can be said for women in esports, gaming groups, or anything that empowers marginalized communities to feel confident and supported. I don't know if it's just a complete lack of understanding for the situation of Black girl gamers, what they do, what they've done in the past with video games, and how they're reacting to being exposed. They go on harassment campaigns against people. They allegedly have very discriminatory hiring practices. This is something that you can see on their website itself. You don't even have to dig or argue with people. All you got to do is take a look. And if you take a look at Becca Henry's page, she's the comms for G2 Esports. She came out in defense of Black Girl Gamers too. Horror Junkie, Hoth Resident, Dog Petter, G2 Esports, 1.5 million followers. She's comms for them. So she's speaking on behalf of them when she comes out in defense of this group. Okay, when I clicked on the website just to confirm this is them. G2 Esports website. And last but not least, for this ridiculous defense campaign for Black Girl Gamers, it looks like Grum's tweet attracted BBC host Jules Hardy and Sports Illustrated video game journalist Kirk McKeon. She also corrected a minute later that Kirk is the Sports Illustrated content director for video games. And look what they said here. Whitney said, "This is shocking news, and to think they are called Black Girl Gamers, the deception." Did a bunch of crying faces. Whitney says, "Next thing you'll tell me, Black History Month celebrates Black culture only. Outrageous." Just a complete lack of understanding, outright condescension. And then Kirk says he's one to talk anyway. His house is exclusively sad old white dudes. I mean, dude. Well, Grums is actually Asian, but okay. So Black Girl Gamer defenders, Sweet Baby Inc. defenders, they are panicking. They are screaming into the void. They're upset. And these aren't the only examples that I found. Packer Girl did some excellent reporting, as you can see, just showing all of these people that work in the gaming industry or in the digital industry in some way, shape, or form, coming out in defense of Sweet Baby Inc. and Black Girl Gamers. Since we're on the cusp of discovering exactly what the cease and desist letter for that Park Place says, I can only expect that this defense is going to ramp up over time, and we're going to be seeing way more from within the industry attacking gamers for being this, attacking gamers for being that. If you're white as a gamer, you're bad. If you're male as a gamer, you're bad. If you don't agree with Black Girl Gamer policies, you're bad. Everything is bad. And it's coming from people who are apparently in charge of certain aspects of the digital experience for gamers, for people completely disconnected from what gamers believe, or at least the majority of them. And the more they come out and say the exact same things as the people that came before them said, it just goes to show that a real conversation isn't happening here. It's just a bunch of screaming. It's just a bunch of hollering in people's ears with the same exact message without any kind of substance to back any of these arguments up. It's just a bunch of hoopla revolving around a vast assumption that white male gamers are the problem. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and share it if you haven't had the chance. That would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow, meow.